Welcome, my friends, to a place where the veil between life and death wears thin. Today we delve into the chilling phenomenon of phantom pain, a torment that transcends the boundaries of life itself. These are the stories of those who have passed, yet still feel the agonizing grip of a limb long gone. Prepare yourself, dear viewer, as we descend into the depths of these tales. Our journey begins in the quaint town of Hollow Creek, a place where time seems to stand still, and the hustle and bustle of modern life feels like a distant memory. Here, Emily lived a life filled with simple joys, tending to her garden and finding happiness in the small, everyday moments. Emily, known for her warm smile and infectious laughter, was beloved by all. Her presence brought light to everyone around her, and her laughter was a melody that echoed through the town. But fate had a cruel twist in store for her. The skies darkened, and an ominous feeling settled over Hollow Creek. One evening, Emily was involved in a horrific carriage accident. The once peaceful streets were now filled with the sound of chaos and despair. Despite the town doctor's efforts, Emily's injuries proved fatal. The doctor, with a heavy heart, had to deliver the devastating news to the townsfolk. Her left arm, mangled beyond repair, had to be amputated. The sight of her bandaged arm was a grim reminder of the tragedy that had befallen her. The townsfolk mourned her loss deeply. The funeral procession was a somber affair, with everyone in the town coming together to pay their respects. They laid her to rest in the Hollow Creek Cemetery, a place where the living and the dead coexisted in a delicate balance. But Emily's story didn't end there. Whispers began to circulate about strange occurrences at Emily's old house. The new occupants reported hearing disembodied footsteps and doors creaking open and shut. The once warm and inviting home now felt cold and unwelcoming. The new occupants reported hearing disembodied footsteps and doors creaking open and shut. The eerie sounds filled the house, making it impossible to ignore the presence of something otherworldly. Objects moved mysteriously, as if manipulated by an unseen force. Books would fall off shelves and furniture would shift positions without explanation. The young couple felt a cold spot in their bedroom, a chilling presence near the bed. Then came the nightmares. The air grew heavy with an unspoken dread. Sarah, the young wife, began experiencing vivid, unsettling dreams of Emily. Each night the dreams grew more intense, leaving Sarah feeling drained and terrified. In these dreams, Emily clutched at her missing arm, her phantom limb twitching grotesquely. The sight was both heartbreaking and horrifying. The feeling of Emily's presence grew stronger. It was as if she was trying to communicate, to reach out from beyond the grave. Desperate, Sarah sought out old Maggie, the town's oldest resident. Maggie was known for her wisdom and her connection to the spiritual world. Maggie had a reputation for knowing things others didn't. Her eyes held a depth of knowledge that few could comprehend. With trembling hands, Sarah recounted her experiences. She spoke of the nightmares, the cold spots, and the feeling of being watched. Old Maggie listened intently and then spoke. Her voice was calm and steady, a beacon of hope in the darkness. "She's trapped between two worlds, unable to move on," Maggie explained. "Her spirit is restless, caught in a liminal space." Sarah asked, "How can we help her find peace?" Her voice was filled with desperation and a longing for resolution. "We need to help her let go," Maggie said. "Only then can she find the peace she so desperately needs." They gathered a few of Emily's cherished possessions to connect with her spirit. A faded photograph, capturing a moment of happiness, a worn book of poetry, filled with verses that once brought her comfort, and a delicate lace handkerchief, a token of her gentle nature. These items would serve as a conduit to help Emily find peace. They hoped that by surrounding her with the things she loved, they could guide her spirit to the other side. Together, they hoped to remind Emily that death is not the end, but a transition to another realm. A place where she could finally rest, free from the pain and sorrow that had bound her to this world. Leaving behind Hollow Creek, a place shrouded in mystery and silence, we find ourselves on the battle-scarred plains of Gettysburg, a site forever etched in the annals of history. Here, amidst the lingering fog and the whispers of the past, our next tale of phantom pain unfolds. The year was 1863, and the American Civil War raged on with unrelenting ferocity. Amidst the chaos and clamor, a young Union soldier named Thomas found himself in the heart of the Battle of Gettysburg, one of the most pivotal confrontations of the war. Thomas, a farm boy from Ohio, had joined the army out of a sense of duty and patriotism, leaving behind the simplicity of rural life. But nothing could have prepared him for the horrors he would witness on those blood-soaked fields. The air was thick with the stench of gunpowder and death, a suffocating reminder of the brutality of war. Thomas fought with a ferocity born of fear and adrenaline, his every move a desperate bid for survival. He had seen friends and comrades fall beside him, their lives extinguished in an instant. As the battle raged on, Thomas found himself separated from his unit, lost in the chaos. He stumbled through a dense thicket of trees, the sounds of battle growing fainter with each step. Suddenly, Thomas emerged into a clearing, his heart pounding in his chest. Before him lay a scene of unimaginable horror, a tableau of death and destruction. Hundreds of soldiers lay dead or dying, their bodies strewn across the ground like broken dolls. Thomas stood frozen, overwhelmed by the carnage and the sheer scale of the loss. He felt a searing pain in his right leg, a burning agony that brought him to his knees. He looked down to see a jagged piece of shrapnel protruding from his flesh, the wound oozing blood. Thomas collapsed, his vision blurring as the pain threatened to consume him. In his final moments of consciousness, he thought of his family back in Ohio, their faces a beacon of light in the darkness. And then everything went dark, the world fading away into nothingness. Thomas awoke in a strange ethereal realm, a place that seemed to exist beyond the boundaries of life and death. He was lying on a cot, his body swathed in bandages, the pain in his leg a distant memory. A man in a long white coat approached him, his expression one of calm and reassurance. "Welcome," the man said, his voice gentle. "You're in the hospital." Thomas tried to sit up, but the man gently pushed him back down, his touch firm yet kind. "Rest," he said. "You need your strength." "What happened?" Thomas asked, his voice trembling. "You're in the afterlife," the man replied, his words both shocking and surreal. "You died on the battlefield at Gettysburg." Thomas stared in disbelief, his mind struggling to comprehend the reality of his situation. "But my leg, it hurts so much," he said, the pain in his phantom limb a cruel reminder of his fate. "Phantom pain," the man explained, his tone sympathetic. "Your mind remembers the pain even though your body is gone. It's a common experience for those who have passed on in such violent circumstances." Thomas spent the next few days in a daze, his mind reeling from the revelation of his death and the strange new world he found himself in. One day, he noticed a commotion at the far end of the ward, a gathering of soldiers around a cot. A group of soldiers had gathered around a cot, their faces etched with concern and sorrow. Thomas approached and saw a young soldier lying lifeless, his body still and pale. His right leg was missing, amputated above the knee, a stark reminder of the brutality of war. Thomas recognized the soldier from the battlefield, a comrade who had fought bravely by his side. He felt a searing pain shoot through his own phantom limb, a connection to the suffering of his fellow soldier. Thomas realized he was not alone in this strange realm, that there were others like him, trapped between worlds. There were others like him, trapped in that strange realm, their spirits bound by the pain and trauma of their final moments. Thomas resolved to help his fellow soldiers find peace, to guide them towards the light and the solace that awaited them. He would share his story and help them let go of the pain, to release the burdens that held them back. Together, they would embrace the peace that awaited them in the afterlife, a peace that had eluded them in life. And so Thomas became a beacon of hope for the lost souls of Gettysburg, a guiding light in the darkness, leading them towards a new dawn. Our final journey leads us to the Vienna Concert Hall, a place where the ghosts of musical legends linger, their melodies echoing through time. This is the story of Franz, a piano prodigy whose love for music transcended even the cruel hand of fate, leaving an indelible mark on the world of classical music. Franz, born into poverty, possessed a rare gift that set him apart from his peers. His talent was evident from a young age. His fingers danced across the keys with effortless grace, creating melodies that seemed to come from another world. Music was his sanctuary, his solace, his only true love. It was the one thing that brought him peace in a world filled with hardship. Franz's talent blossomed under the tutelage of a retired concert pianist, who recognized his potential and nurtured it with great care. His reputation as a prodigy spread through Vienna, and soon everyone knew the name of the young pianist who played with such passion and skill. The pinnacle of Franz's career arrived when he was invited to perform at the prestigious Vienna Concert Hall, a dream come true for any musician. The night of the concert arrived, and the hall was packed with eager listeners, all waiting to hear the young prodigy play. Franz stepped onto the stage, his heart pounding with a mix of excitement and nerves. This was his moment. He launched into his performance, his fingers dancing across the keys with a fervor that captivated everyone in the audience. The audience sat spellbound, transported by the music that seemed to flow effortlessly from Franz's soul. But as Franz reached the crescendo of his final piece, tragedy struck in the most unexpected way. A sharp, excruciating pain shot through his right hand, causing him to falter. Franz cried out in agony, his fingers spasming uncontrollably, unable to continue the performance. The harmonious melody dissolved into a discordant cacophony, shattering the spell he had cast over the audience. The audience gasped as Franz stumbled back from the piano, the pain too much to bear. The damage to his hand was too severe, and it became clear that he would never play the piano the same way again. Franz's dreams of a musical career were extinguished in that single tragic moment, leaving him in a state of despair. He slipped into a deep depression, unable to find solace in the one thing that had always brought him joy. One stormy night, as the rain pounded against the windows, Franz heard a faint melody drifting from the other room, a sound that seemed impossible. He saw a shadowy figure seated at the grand piano, playing a tune that was hauntingly familiar. The figure's fingers moved across the keys with an eerie familiarity, as if they belonged to someone he knew. Franz watched in stunned silence, unable to believe his eyes. The figure turned to face Franz, and he gasped in shock. The figure was missing its right hand, just like Franz, a chilling revelation that left him trembling. From that day forward, Franz was haunted by the phantom pianist, a constant reminder of what he had lost. In the end, unable to bear the torment, Franz took his own life, his body found slumped over the keys of his beloved piano, a tragic end to a once promising life. As we emerge from these tales, remember that the line between our world and the ethereal realm is thin. Thank you for joining us on this spine-chilling journey into the heart of phantom pain. Until next time, keep a light burning against the shadows, and remember, some pains linger long after the wounds have healed.